Hello, folks, and welcome back. On this episode, we're going to perform our 6 month maintenance on our Casita Water Heater. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. First thing we're going to do is open up our water heater here and do a visual inspection. Once we have it open here, we'll go ahead and point out some of the items that we're looking at here. The first thing we're going to be looking at down here is the actual electrical connector or heater element when you're using it in electric mode. And that's going to be down here on the bottom. It's right here. And then you've got the on-off switch for it, which is right beside it over here. And you'll see mine is off because, to be honest with you, I only use gas. Next thing you've got is the actual gas valve here, which is what provides your gas for the gas. Up here on the top is your two thermostat, one for the gas and one for electric. Down here is your burner for your gas, and this right here is your igniter. The other thing we're going to talk about is this is your temperature and pressure safety valve at the top. And then down at the bottom is going to be your anode, which is what we're also going to pull to inspect and to flush out the system. Then we're just going to look around. We're looking for anything to be loose, anything to be damaged, excessively rust. Right now it looks pretty good. It needs to be cleaned, and we're going to do that in just a minute. All right, now we're going to take a flashlight and we're going to actually look down into the burner here. I know it's hard for you to see on the camera because of all the equipment in the way. Mine looks pretty good. You're going to see rust in here. I don't care what you do. You're going to get some just from the natural burning of the burner when you're heating water. I do have a little pile of rust in the back of mine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the cover off up here, and we're going to actually blow it out and vacuum it out. I've actually pulled the outer cover. There's going to be two screws that hold on. One's right here, one's right there. And I'll try to show you in here. You can see a little bit better when I shine a flashlight in there. You can see a little bit of rust back in the back there, which I'm going to blow out. All I did, folks, is I took a vacuum cleaner with a crevice tool, an air compressor that I've got, and I vacuumed part of it out, and then I blew it out with the air compressor to get all of the surface rust that I could out of it. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to check the igniter, which is those two wires right there. You want to make sure they've got that gap in between them and they're still solid and intact. You can see I replaced the cover here. I put the two screws in it, one on the left and one on the right. And then also the next thing we're going to do, once we make sure the cover's on there tight, is we're going to drain the tank now and pull our anode. First thing you got to do is you got to open your pressure valve up here to relieve pressure and then pull the anode. Then we're going to lift the temperature and pressure valve here to release any pressure inside the tank. Now make sure all your water is off going to the trailer. And then we're going to take the anode out here to drain our tank and flush it. We're going to use a 1 1/16 inch wrench, put it on our ratchet, and then we're going to back out the anode. Now it should be in here tight, so it's got a good seal, so just back it out. And then once you break it loose, you should be able to use your hand to pull the anode completely out of the water heater. Now, once you get the anode coming out, be careful because there is a lot of water going to come out of here as the water heater drains. And then once you get your anode out, inspect it. Ours is still good, so we're going to reuse it. If not, we would replace it with a new one. This is what the new anode looks like, and we'll have a link in the description down below for where to purchase it. Now, once you have your anode out, you're going to have to wait till all the water drains out. You can see ours is finished draining now. And the next thing you're going to want to do is flush this tank out. There is scale that's going to build up inside this tank, and you need to flush it out to make sure the water heater continues to work properly. We're going to use a flushing tool that we bought. I'll go ahead and put a link down below for it. It's relatively inexpensive. I used to just use a piece of pipe on the end of the hose, but this has got a little valve on it, so it makes it easier. So you just put it in here. You're going to turn your water on and rotate your wand around as you're going in and out of the tank to flush any debris out. And you'll see as you watch me do this, you'll see little pieces fall out of the scale that's inside the tank. And you just want to make sure you get them all out of there and get the tank clean. And you'll have to do this several times. Just in between, allow enough time for all the water to drain out. And you'll see on the bottom lip down here, you'll see scale. It's in that lower right-hand corner over there. of the actual water heater, you'll see the scale that builds up in there. Just periodically rinse it out, and that'll tell you how much scale is left in the water heater in between each flush, and that'll tell you when you finally got it clean enough to continue. Once you feel the tank is rinsed out enough and it's clean, go ahead and take your anode, whether you're putting a new one in or using your old one. Just make sure that you've got Teflon tape on it before you put it into the water heater. Now that we have our Teflon tape on, just slide it into your tank, and you're going to hand tighten this. Use your hands only to get these threads started so you don't cross thread it. And once you've got it screwed in there hand tight, take just the socket without the ratchet, use it to screw it in even further. That way you know that your threads are straight and you're not cross threaded. And then you're going to put your ratchet on here, and you want to tighten it up. And you're not going to torque it real strong, but you want to tighten it up so it's nice and tight and there's no leaks. Once you've got it nice and tight, the next thing we're going to do is close our temperature pressure valve, and then we're going to refill our tank and check for normal operations. To do this, we're going to hook our city water up to the trailer as you see here, and then we're going to go inside the trailer and refill the hot water tank. The way we're going to refill the hot water tank is turn the hot water on here at the kitchen sink. You'll see a little bit of water come out initially. That's the water that's left in the line. And you'll see in just a minute that's going to turn to air, which is the air coming out of the water heater. And then from there, we're just going to let all that air flush out of the tank, and we're going to let it run until we get a solid, steady stream of water coming out of this faucet. Just let it run for just a few minutes after you get all the air out, just to ensure there's no pockets of air trapped in there. And then we're going to go ahead and just turn off our water. And I like to actually, once I get the hot water tank filled, I'll run the cold water just a minute just to make sure there's no air in that line also. And then the final thing we're going to do is go ahead and turn on our water heater, whether we're using gas or we're using electric. If you're using gas, you'll be able to hear it light off and you'll be able to feel the heat coming out of here. If you're using electric, you're just going to have to wait on it to heat up the water. All right, you can see the new anode in there. You can see there's no leaks around it. Just kind of feel around and make sure that there's no fresh water coming out of it. And then you're also going to check your temperature pressure valve up here and make sure that it's not leaking. Now, just as a side note, when your water heater is at normal operating pressure and temperature, it can drip just a little bit. And that completes our semi-annual check of our water heater. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop us a line. We want to tell you we appreciate you watching and thank you very much for your support, and we'll see you in the campground.